Let's move to the main incident. This happened when the girl was around 10 years old. At that age, it is common to see children playing various traditional games. Especially girls used to play a specific type of game, which we used to call kut-kut in our childhood. I'm not exactly sure what it is called now. In this game, a broken piece of a clay pot is usually used. The broken piece is gradually shaped into a rounded form by carefully chipping it from all sides. Then it is thrown forward, and by lifting one leg, the player has to push it forward using the other foot, moving it through a marked court and bringing it back to the starting point. One afternoon, that girl was playing this game with her friends. At one point during the game, while she was pushing the clay piece forward with her foot and returning within the court boundary, suddenly the front part of the big toe of her right foot got cut. Since that part of the toe is used to hit the piece, that's where the injury occurred. After getting cut, she left the game and came back home. The wound was cleaned and bandaged, and after some time, it healed completely. But the problem started about 6 months later. The place that had fully healed suddenly began to itch. When she scratched it, the skin slowly started to peel off. At one point, the skin peeled so much that it turned into a sore. She was taken to a doctor. The doctor prescribed medicine, but there was no sign of improvement. About a year passed like this. She was also taken to Dhaka for treatment, but that didn't help either. All the doctors said the same thing. It was an infection, but they couldn't determine exactly why it was happening. They tried their best from their side. After that, some relatives suggested that since treatment wasn't working locally, she should be taken abroad. She was taken abroad, and doctors there also said the same thing. It was an infection. Based on her medical history, they explained that when her toe got cut by the clay piece, some germs might have entered deep inside her nail. Even though the wound healed from the outside, the germs remained inside and later became active, causing the infection. They gave her medication, and after the treatment, she returned home. But still, there was no improvement. At one point, the condition became so severe that she even had difficulty walking due to the pain. Another 3 to 4 years passed like this. Until then, the problem was limited to physical suffering. But after that, a different kind of terrifying experience began. She started seeing a strange figure in her dreams. Almost every night, she would see a shadowy figure standing near her feet, smiling in a horrifying way. In her sleep, she would scream and wake up in fear. People around her would ask what happened, and she would say that she saw something very frightening in her dream. Her mother and others would tell her, "It was just a nightmare, go back to sleep." But it was not just a one-time thing. She started seeing the same dream almost every night. At first, she only saw the figure, but later, the dream became even more terrifying. She began to see that the figure was standing near her feet and slowly stroking her big toe. Seeing this, she would wake up screaming in terror. Then her mother said, "You must be watching ghost movies on television. That's why you see these things in your dreams. Otherwise, there's no reason to see such things." In reality, her family didn't give much importance to this matter. The reason is it wasn't like this from the very beginning. At first, everyone considered it a medical issue, and suddenly she started seeing these things in her sleep. Because of that, the people in her family couldn't link this to anything paranormal, and that's quite natural. If it had been the case that she started seeing these things right after her toe got injured, then it would have made some sense. But a long time had already passed. so that thought didn't come to their minds. So she kept seeing these things. At one point, the figure that used to stand near her feet and later started touching her foot, things began to change in a strange and terrifying way. In her dreams, she now saw that the figure no longer touched her foot with its hand. Instead, it used a long tongue to lick the injured part of her big toe. She would watch this in shock. She was lying down, seeing everything happening, but she couldn't move her body at all. It felt to her that what she was seeing was not just a dream. It felt completely real, even more real than reality. Because when the tongue of that figure touched her toe, she could actually feel a sticky, saliva-like substance on it. She could also feel that the tongue was warm against her skin. She would experience all of this, and then suddenly scream in her sleep. At first, for a few days, whenever she screamed and woke up, she saw that the figure was gone because she had only seen it in her dream. But one day, something truly terrifying happened, just like before she screamed and woke up, but this time, she saw that the figure was not inside her dream anymore. It was actually standing near her feet. Seeing this, she started screaming even louder. By that time, her family members had become somewhat used to her screaming at night. So even when she screamed, someone would say, "Oh, leave it. What's the point of going there? She's just shouting in her sleep again. What's new?" This has been going on for a long time. Now, when she told her mother that she had seen the figure in real life, her mother thought for a moment and then said, "All right, your elder sister will sleep with you from now on." So her elder sister was made to sleep with her. Before that, she used to sleep alone. After her elder sister started sleeping with her for the first 3 to 4 days, everything was completely normal. Since nothing unusual happened during those days, she also began to think that maybe the problem had stopped because her sister was with her. She even said, "Since my elder sister started sleeping with me, I'm not having any problems anymore." Her family members also thought, "All right, then the problem must be over." But then another terrifying incident occurred. One night, both she and her elder sister were sleeping. A dim light was on in the room. At that time, her elder sister had not fallen asleep yet. It wasn't extremely late at night, but she herself had already fallen asleep. Her elder sister was turning from one side to another, unable to sleep for some reason. As they were sleeping on opposite sides of the bed, when her elder sister turned toward her side, she saw something horrifying. She saw a figure, a shadow-like figure, standing near her sister's feet. It was just standing there. She couldn't understand if it was doing anything else. The moment she saw it, she got terrified and screamed. Hearing her scream, she also woke up. And due to the loud screaming, other family members rushed into the room. Her elder sister then said that she had seen this thing. For the first time, her family believed the matter. From then on, they became very serious about it. They decided to call a religious healer. An imam was brought in. He performed a spiritual healing ritual on her and also gave her an amulet to wear for protection. For about 8 to 10 days, she was fine. Then one night, her elder sister saw a dream where a huge, terrifying tiger was chasing both of them. They were running. While running, she noticed that her sister still had the black thread of the amulet tied to her hand, but the amulet itself was missing. The next morning when she woke up, her elder sister told their mother about the dream. She said, "I saw this kind of dream, and later I noticed the thread is there, but the amulet is missing." Hearing this, Their mother called her and said, "Let me see the amulet." And indeed, the amulet was not there on her hand. Only the thread remained. What happened? Why did this happen? It could be that while sleeping, she moved around, and the amulet slipped off. The amulet usually has a small ring-like loop through which the thread is passed, and then it is tied around the hand, waist, or wherever needed. So it could be that the part got pressed and broke, or it broke in such a way that the thread got separated from the amulet. That is possible, but then where did the amulet fall? They started searching for it, and after looking for some time, they finally found it lying on one side of the room. But something strange was noticed. The hook or ring-like part of the amulet was completely intact. There was no way it could have opened on its own. Yes, it can be opened, but first the thread has to be untied. Then the amulet has to be carefully taken out from the thread. After that, if the thread is tied again, everything would be fine. But how did this happen? They couldn't understand. After this incident, they contacted the religious healer who had given the amulet. After hearing everything, he said, "All right, give me a few days. Let me see if I can find out something." After 4 or 5 days, he gave some information to Mima's father. He said, "Look, brother, I won't be able to do anything in this case. I am not powerful enough to succeed in this matter. Even the jinn that helps me is not that strong. But I can tell you this much. When your daughter's foot got cut, at that time a jinn of a demonic type was passing by. It noticed your daughter, and it also noticed the blood coming out from her wound. These jinns have a special characteristic. When they attack someone, the person's behavior does not change, but they spread certain diseases inside the human body by licking with their tongue. That jinn has been licking your daughter's foot with its tongue, and because of that, her foot has started to decay. I didn't know this before. And that same jinn is the one who removed the amulet. But I don't think anything can be done now with this. You should go to someone more powerful than me with this amulet. Otherwise, your daughter will gradually become more ill. This infection may turn into severe decay, even gangrene. At one point, she might even die." After hearing this, what father could stay calm? Mima's father became extremely worried. He shared everything with his wife. Meanwhile, Mima's condition kept getting worse. Her foot gradually deteriorated. The family consulted many healers and spiritual practitioners, but nothing worked. Even though they were Muslim, they also went to Hindu tantric practitioners. Still, nothing helped. Whoever came performed rituals and took money. Whatever amount they asked, the family paid. But nothing worked. At one point, they found a Hindu tantric practitioner in Benapole. It was said that he treated all kinds of cases, good or bad, and would do anything for money. Mima's father first went to him alone. He wanted to bring the tantric home for treatment, but the man said, "I don't go to anyone's house. I don't treat patients at their homes. The patient has to come to me." So Mima was taken there. After examining her carefully, the tantric said, "All right, it can be done. It will cost 40,000. The family agreed immediately because they were desperate to get rid of the problem. He treated Mima, but she never revealed what method he used. After that, Mima recovered. For nearly 5 years, she remained completely healthy. Her foot became normal again. She stopped seeing those dreams. She didn't see any figure anymore. By that time, she had reached the age of marriage, so her family arranged her marriage. Everything was fine. even after marriage. About a year or a little more passed normally. Then one night, Mima and her husband were sleeping. Suddenly she felt someone touching her foot, very softly. At first, she thought it was normal, but gradually the feeling became strange. The touch that was gentle at first started to feel stronger. Then suddenly, it felt like someone bit her foot very hard. In pain, she screamed loudly. Her husband woke up immediately. He turned on the light and saw that she was crying. He asked, "What happened?" She said, "It felt like something bit my foot." When they looked at her foot, especially her big toe, her husband was shocked. He saw bite marks, 3 marks on the upper side and 3 on the lower side, like something with 3 teeth had bitten her. He realized that something had actually bitten her. But what kind of thing has 3 teeth and bites like that at night? It was very strange. However, he calmed her down and put her back to sleep, saying, "It's nothing. Let's wait until morning and think about it then." They slept through the night. Nothing else happened. But the very next day, another terrifying incident occurred. That night, Mima was sleeping, and her husband was just about to fall asleep, but not fully asleep yet. At that moment, he saw something horrifying. He saw a red head near Mima's feet. The head was bright red. Not just the eyes, but the entire head. It looked wet and shiny. It had no body. There was no hair on the head. It had a long tongue. A very long tongue. The head was floating in the air, and its tongue was hanging down and repeatedly touching Mima's foot. The moment he saw this, he screamed. And as soon as he screamed, the head vanished. Mima also woke up and asked what happened. But her husband didn't say anything at that time because he didn't want to scare her. That night passed without any further incident. In the morning, he kept thinking to himself, what did I see? Was it just a dream? Or did I actually see it? He couldn't come to any clear conclusion. The next night, another incident happened. Mima had a dream. The next morning, she shared it with her husband. She said, "In my dream, I saw a head-like figure. Its head was bright red like blood. It was laughing and saying, 'What did you think? That you would trap me and make me a servant through that tantric? Is there anyone who can trap me?' After saying this, it laughed in a horrifying way. Hearing this, her husband said, 'What are you saying? I saw the exact same dream. Something came to me in my dream and said, "No one can save your wife." After realizing that both of them saw the same dream, he became truly alarmed. Then he took Mima to a nearby mosque and discussed everything with an imam. The imam said, "Do one thing, right? Inform your in-laws. I want to speak with them." They were informed and came. After hearing everything, the imam said, "You should find out more about that tantric from Benapole. This needs to be investigated." Since Mima's father had taken her there, he knew the place well. When he went there and asked around, he heard something shocking and terrifying. The tantric had been murdered just a few days earlier. He was brutally killed. His head was separated from his body, and his waist and lower body were twisted in the opposite direction, as if someone had broken his body and turned it around unnaturally. Normally, the chest and knees face the same direction, but in his case, it was completely reversed from the waist. No one knew who had done this. Since he had no family, the police conducted a post-mortem and filed it as an unnatural death. His funeral was arranged according to Hindu religious customs. After hearing all this, Mima's father returned and shared everything with the family. They also discussed the matter again with the imam. Then the imam said, "Honestly, this doesn't seem like a problem that I will be able to treat." So he was unable to continue the treatment. A few days later, the itching on Mima's foot started again. As she kept scratching, it turned into a sore once more. This time the condition became even more severe. The decay worsened to such an extent that eventually 3 of her toes had to be amputated. It was no longer limited to just one toe. The infection had spread to the others as well. In her in-laws area, there was an elderly woman who was somewhat related to the family, like a grandmother figure. She came to visit. After arriving, she learned about Mima from her mother-in-law. She then said, "All right, call the girl. Let me talk to her." When she spoke with Mima and heard everything, she said, "A jinn sometimes comes to me, but I don't treat patients. And it doesn't perform treatments either. It just comes occasionally and talks. Still, since you are close to me and facing such a problem, I will try to speak to it and see if it can give any solution." She also mentioned that the jinn usually comes on Fridays. "If it comes this Friday, I will talk to it about this matter." She came again on Saturday and said, "I have spoken to it. It has seen you. It will discuss this matter and go to its own place. It will try to find a solution and let us know within a week." By the next Saturday after that Friday had passed, she returned again. Meanwhile, Mima was barely able to sleep at night. Out of 24 hours, she could only sleep for a very short time because of the severe pain in her foot. Even after losing 3 toes, the problem had not been solved. It seemed like the decay was gradually spreading from her remaining toes toward her heel. The pain had reached up to her heel. The elderly woman explained something important. She said that the evil jinn of that type has a specific trait. It spreads disease by licking, but it does not directly possess the person. That is why there are no behavioral changes in the victim. People continue normal medical treatments because they don't see any abnormal behavior, and they cannot understand that this might be caused by a jinn. But the intention of that jinn is to rot the body and eventually kill the person. So what is the solution? The jinn that had given information to the elderly woman said that it had gone back to its own land and consulted powerful healer jinns there. Those healer jinns gave a solution. They said that some mustard oil and certain other ingredients would be needed. The names of those ingredients cannot be revealed. Mima herself did not mention them, and it is forbidden to disclose them. She only mentioned mustard oil. These ingredients had to be bought from the market in a single purchase all at once, without bargaining. After buying them, they were to be given to the elderly woman. She took them, and after another week, she came back again. She said that the jinn had taken those ingredients to its own land, where the healer jinns processed them and mixed them with the mustard oil to create a special kind of medicine. This oil had to be applied to the foot. When the oil was about to finish, another step had to be followed. It should not be completely finished. Before it runs out, the same ingredients had to be purchased again in the same way, processed through a special method, and mixed with the remaining oil. The oil should never be allowed to run out completely. Also, this oil would only work for Mima and no one else. After that, by the infinite mercy of Allah, when she started applying this oil, her foot gradually began to heal. Even after her foot recovered, she still occasionally uses this oil, and she no longer sees that jinn in her dreams. That is what she reported.